Hey, how are we doing today? All right, so please forgive me, but I have to do this. I hope you play along. The stars at night are big and bright. All right, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I am going to go to the Alamo later and ask to see the basement. All right, that's the last of the Pee Wee Herman stuff. My name is Aaron Swoboda, and I am the secondary learning coach for Kearney Public Schools in Kearney, Nebraska. Raise your hand if you know where Kearney, Nebraska is. One guy, because he's from Kearney. All right. So the big buzzword, one of the big buzzwords in education right now is feedback. How many of you are talking about feedback in your districts and like that? Yeah. And we are using Google Apps in our district for many different feedback purposes. And I think it's an awesome tool. I think it's an awesome tool for getting feedback to kids. And really, and by the way, as I'm going to be talking quick because I don't have a lot of time, so if you want to quick go to this little link here or scan the QR code. But what we're finding is that feedback is one of the most powerful and I think misused and underused techniques that will increase student achievement. So, okay, we're scanning. Awesome. And there's going to be a QR code, that same QR code in each slide. So if you miss it as I move forward, you'll be able to follow along. So I'm going to start off with a question, and you're going to let me know by 1, 2, or 3. All right? So there are 3 groups of students, and they're each given a divergent thinking task, which means that it's not manual labor. It's not just plugging out widgets. At the end of the task, Group 1 was given a grade, Group 2 was given comments only, and Group 3 was given grade and comments. So who did better? Which do you think, 1, 2, or 3, when they're asked to do this again? So 1 is given a grade, 2 is given comments only, 3 was given comments and a grade. Okay, when I was asked this question, my gut instinct was to say 3. I thought comments and a grade, but actually it's Group 2. That getting the comments, when it's divergent thinking, when it's a cognitive skill, that comments does the best, feedback does the best at getting kids to do better. So why are we talking feedback? I'll give you a couple of geek answers here. Daniel Pink talks about motivation 3.0. Motivation 1.0 was just basic physiological needs, like I need air, I need food, things like that. Motivation 2.0 is the carrot and stick, where if you do well, you'll get a good grade. If you do well, you'll get a paycheck, right? That's what probably a lot of us grew up under. He's saying that now the kids that are coming into our classrooms are operating under this motivation 3.0, which is self-determinancy. They want autonomy, they want purpose, and they want mastery. They're not really concerned about the grade all that much. They want to master this, and the only way you're going to master it is if you get good feedback. Marzano and Pollock, they found that the effect size of feedback is at a 0.76 on student achievement, very big. John Hattie, who did a meta-analysis of teaching strategies that affect student achievement, and feedback is the 10th highest effect size in his study of 150 strategies. So that's why we're talking feedback. And I'm going to talk about 3 ways that you can use Google Apps to increase feedback within the classroom. And we're going to talk about comments, which is probably the simplest way. Then we're going to get into something that's kind of new that I just learned about a few months ago, which are voice comments. And then I'm going to talk about a form emailer script that we use in my district. So when you look at this paper, if this was your paper, what is the first thing that you notice? What's the first thing you're going to look at? If everybody can see that, you're probably going to look and see that there's the grade. All these comments, there's red X's, there's stuff written by the teacher, but the kids are going to go straight to that grade, 0% F. Why read this? I failed. They're going to throw it in the air. If you take away that grade, then maybe they're going to start reading these comments. So I always hated writing rough drafts for papers. How many of you hated writing rough drafts for papers? Yes, okay, we're joining a club. And the reason was I had to write this, and I knew I was going to have to write it again. It drove me nuts. I wish we would have had Google Apps when I was in high school, because it makes so much more sense to me now that when I'm writing a paper using a Google Doc, that it is now this living, evolving thing, okay? And I think the comments feature is the best way to get this. And I gave a little screenshot here of, I was working on my ISTE presentation submission, and I shared it with a couple other Google certified teachers and asked for their comments. And you notice they put these little sticky notes attached to my document. So where you see a highlighting, that would activate one of these tabs. So the teacher can get in, I've written my paper, and they can leave a comment for me, and then I can make the necessary changes without having to rewrite the whole stupid paper, right? Okay? But it's for asynchronous collaboration. It's not having to be on the document at the same time. I can just open up the document that's shared with me and leave a comment. So I'm going to demonstrate it for you. My presentation that you guys have been clicking at will go through these steps. But I'm going to escape out of full screen mode here. And so if this is my term paper that I've written, or student has shared with me, and I'm reading something and I don't like it, or I want to leave a comment about it, I can just highlight what I want to make a comment. It could be a whole paragraph, could be just a word. And I can go up to Insert, Comment, and a little sticky note is activated off to the right, and I can leave a little sticky note for the student. And I've talked to teachers about this. Imagine that instead of marking it out, my wife is an English teacher, by the way, okay? Instead of marking it off and saying, you spelled this word wrong, or a comma is supposed to go there, or that word doesn't belong. How many of you have had an English teacher do that? It's really aggressive, isn't it? Sorry, English teachers. But anyway, imagine if you highlighted it and said, you have punctuation problem in this sentence. A comma needs to go in here somewhere. Then they have to figure it out. Suddenly, that's higher level blooms. They're having to analyze their own work to figure out where to put the comma, rather than you saying, put a comma here. So that's simple, just leaving a comment. Now, if I'm the student and I make that change, let's say I make the change or I don't make the change, I can hit Resolve, and that little sticky note goes away. But here's the beauty part of it. It sticks with us if you go in the upper right-hand corner under Comments, and every comment that has been attached to that document stays right there. I got to scroll down a little bit so you can see it. I've got some other things I want you to check out later. But anyway, it's there. So if the kid says, why did I get a D on this paper? Well, I told you to change these paragraphs. Well, I did. Well, let's look at the comments button. Oh, you didn't do this. You just resolved all the comments. So a little Big Brother-ish, but it's pretty awesome. But again, you're giving the kid feedback throughout the writing process, not turn in the paper. You could do this at any time. That's awesome, isn't it? You can do this at any time. We've had an English teacher who got online at the same time that a kid was showing his parents the paper, and the mom started freaking out. It's like, what's going on? And Rob is leaving a comment saying, hey, you might fix the title. So that's a really simple, effective way to get some feedback into the classroom. How many have used the comments feature on Google Docs before? Awesome. Okay, so the next one up is voice comments. Anybody used voice comments yet? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, voice comments is actually diving into something that I'm starting to become a little bit more comfortable with, and that's Drive apps. It's like there are Chrome apps and there are extensions, and then there are Google Drive apps. And if you click the red Create button and go all the way down to the bottom here where it says Connect More Apps, this is where you're going to find the voice comments. And you can attach things to your Google Drive to make Google Drive even more effective for you. Now, a little disclaimer here is that, and this is the one you're going to be looking for, it's called voice comments. Thank you. But in order for this to work, each collaborator has to have voice comments installed on their Google Drive. So you'd have to walk the kids through this and say, make sure they get it installed on theirs and I get it installed on mine. Otherwise it won't work. So everybody's got to have it. So, and that's got this little caution in here. Because now what you're going to do, in order to leave a voice comment, instead of just opening up the document like you normally do, you're actually going to click on Open With and then select Voice Comments. So again, these step-by-step is in my presentation. I'm just going to show it to you right now. So if I go to my Google Drive, and this term paper, I'm going to right-click on that, and notice that it says Open With, and there's Voice Comments. So this is the way I get to the voice comments. I can't just open up the document as normal. I have to do right-click and Open With Voice Comments. And it says it wants to do all these things. You just say yes. And now my paper is opened up. And it'll say, can we access your camera and your microphone? And notice now there's a little red record button in the right side there, okay? So what I can do is I can record, and woo, it highlighted everything, but I can just talk, and I don't like this sentence, whatever, and hit stop. And now they can hit play. And it'd be really cool if you could hear it, but it's actually playing through those comments. Now, the student would open up their document, and they can go up to the comments button, and that's where it'll show that, hey, listen to some verbal feedback. And you notice all that highlighting that I did, it records that as well. So you can highlight, I'm looking at this sentence, I don't like the structure here, I don't like you need a comma here or something like that. So there's a little visual to it as well. But then they would just click on this link, and it will open up that player where now they can play through the comments. And you see this X right here. Each one of those is a segment. It's a different comment that I've left as a teacher. So again, now you're getting, it's a little bit more personal rather than just writing. And sometimes, my sarcasm doesn't come through in my writing. Maybe they could hear it in the voice comments. Maybe that'd be better. So on a scale of 0 to 5 of 0, that stunk, to 5, that's pretty awesome. What do you think about that feature? 0 to 5. Right on. Cool. All right. So now, and like I said, I'm hustling through here. Say that again. I don't know. Right now, I just know that just putting it on through add apps, you might talk to the people in the white shirts. So some cool things here is that you can record multiple times. You can delete segments. So if you think, oh, that was a bad comment I left, you can delete, hit that little X. It'll take it away. To listen to it, you have to click the Comments tab and click on the provided link, and then hit play and listen to your heart's content. The third thing that we use to increase feedback at our school is this form emailer script. This is getting a little bit more, I suppose, geeky, if you will. I think that's a term of endearment. But we've got teachers using this. We've got all of our principals using this. How many of you are teachers? How many of you are teachers? How many of your principals do walkthrough evaluations on you? Okay. Ours do it all the time. They come through with a tablet. They have a Google form that is just a quick little, they rate engagement, they basic observations, and when they hit submit, because of this script that I'm going to show you, it sends an email automatically to the teacher with all those submissions. Because there's nothing worse as a teacher than having an evaluation and having to wait 2 weeks to see what the principal thought, right? So this script is really pretty powerful. It's developed by Enrique Abreu from Brazil. He's a JavaScript developer. You don't have to know any Java to do this. This is all pretty simple. Again, we use it for walkthrough evaluations for teachers. One of my thoughts, put it onto an exit ticket. How many of you have your students do exit tickets? How many of them remember what they wrote on that exit ticket when they get home? This now sends an email right to them saying, hey, this is what you supposedly learned in my class. What if mom and dad were carbon copied on that? So mom and dad can say, hey, I noticed you were talking about the American Revolution today. Suddenly that opens up that conversation instead of what'd you learn in school today? Well, I don't know. Pretty powerful. So, how do I get it? I create a Google form, and I open up that form, and it's go under Tools and Script Gallery, and then I find Form Email. And I've got a list of instructions on this, so if you don't have to write it down right now, if you've got my presentation, you'll have the instructions, okay? I just want to show you how powerful it is. As a matter of fact, if you scan this code right now, that will take you to a Google Doc. They'll take you step by step of how to install this into a Google form. It's a really simple process. I feel so Hollywood when they're up here, clicking things. It's like, and there's red carpet. I feel really cool. That's awesome. And again, if you have my presentation, and this is going to be online later too, but we're going to test it out and show you how cool this is. So if you want to type in this link or scan this code, it's going to take you to a Google form. It's going to be our exit ticket for this little mini session. And after you fill it out, both you and myself are going to get an email with your submissions. So eventually, my phone will start getting all active because you're filling out the form. And again, I just wanted to show you what was possible. If you scan this presentation, this QR code, you'll have the steps on the form emailer script, the steps on how to do the voice comments, and also how to do comments. And then if you ever need anything from me, have a question or whatever, you can feel free to email me. And this is my site, much like Jim was saying, he had a site of all things that he does. There's a lot of resources on here that I've created on my website. Who's completed the exit ticket so far? Holy cow, yeah, look at this. And hopefully you'll get an email back from me. Quick and dirty, that's what I got here, guys. So thank you for being a good audience, and we will see you later.